Hello YouTube, this is the Dentist, and welcome to another commentary vloggy thing. Yeah, that's pretty much how I'm going to introduce them all now. I've decided that's how we're going to go about this thing. I know you're probably expecting more gameplay, but I like doing these just to keep you guys in the loop as to what's going on. Mainly because I'm a little lost as I've previously said, as to what content I want to be making. However, I have a plan. Now, I asked you guys what you want, and a couple of you, I've got the comments open right here, and they say, Kerbal, as usual. Someone suggested an RPG, more Kerbal. Someone suggested Viva Pinata. That was Dougie, actually. Someone else said Battlefield 3, which you should be watching in the video behind this commentary. Someone said Bad Company 2 Vietnam, but I don't own that, unfortunately. Someone mentioned Arma 3. Someone said Payday the Heist, and someone said they just weren't interested in the Q&A. Someone suggested Thief, which I don't own, unfortunately. I said I was going to give you a list, so I quickly threw something together. Now, these are all titles that are single-player, campaign-based, sort of something I can make a series of and finish. It's not like Battlefield 3, for example, or Arma 3 in its current state, where I can't really finish a series if I did it, and like it wouldn't have any structure. Because, well, I mean, yes, Battlefield 3 has a campaign, but it's pretty pants, in all brutal honesty. And the multiplayer, well, yeah, I could do, like, just a bunch of multiplayer videos, but I don't think that's really what you want. I mean, unless it is what you want, and you just want to see me and some friends shoot dudes for 25 minutes, and then end, you know. If that's what you want, then I can do it, but I don't see that as use of your time. So, I have a list. Where's my list gone? Excellent. Okay. I'm going to basically read off each game and give a very brief description as to what it is for people that don't know what it is. I recommend Googling the games during this and pausing the video and looking at what each game is if you're willing to contribute to this vote. First game on my list is Hotline Miami, because it is a very interesting game and is an awful lot of fun to play. It is a top-down, like, blisteringly fast, beat-em-up, sort of... I don't know how to describe it. It's very violent. It has at least a sense of progression. There are levels which I can do so I can finish it. But it's completely bonkers. I recommend watching gameplay of it to understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's a top-down fighter, sort of permadeath. Not permadeath, but sort of one hit you die kind of thing. And you clear out buildings of guys. It's kind of like those Flash games you see on the internet, but a lot better. Second game on my list is Teleglitch, which is another top-down sort of survival horror shooter style game with an interesting art style, where you have to escape a base that has been overrun by zombies and mutants and monsters and stuff, and you build weapons from scrap and nonsense you find, and you have to survive, and it is very, very hard. I've covered that before on the channel. Go back to sort of January time, I think, maybe December. I covered it in a random Sunday. So if you want to see more of that game, then that's doable. Next game on my list is Deus Ex Human Revolution, which is the third in the Deus Ex series. It is a first-person RPG shooter, mostly. Yeah, it's a shooter. First-person shooter RPG set in the near future, where people are starting to integrate machines into themselves, and the question of humanity is questioned. And all dramatic shenanigans like that. Very good. It's a bit long. As in, the series could run on for a while, especially if I start knackering around with side objectives. But for people that wanted me to do an RPG, that's one option. The next option is very RPG, and that is Mass Effect 2. And I'm a little scared about recommending this because it is a damn long game. Especially if you knacker around with side objectives. I'm a little hesitant to recommend that. I'm hoping not everyone goes for it, because if they do, then I'm screwed. But that's a the science-fi? What am I talking about? It is a sci-fi RPG set in the far future, where you are in contact with alien races, and shit went down in the first game that I'm not going to go over because, well, the first game is tedious to play through, to say the least. The second game was a lot more fun to play. Haven't played the third, I know what happens. Don't worry. I don't even own it, I just know what happens. Again, I recommend Googling or watching videos on it to get an idea. Fifth game is Call of Duty 4, because that's one of the only good ones, and I personally wouldn't mind playing through that story again, because I haven't played through it in years. It's an option. It's a modern-day first-person shooter with terrorists and nukes and a dude with one arm and lots of Scottish people. Yeah, you pretty much get the gist of that, and if you don't know what Call of Duty 4 is, then the rock you've been living under must be the size of Canada. Seriously. On to the next one. The godfather of all first-person shooters, Doom. And I would not be playing through the classic Doom version, because getting it to run is an arse. So I would be playing the Brutal Doom modded version, because it's more fun to play, in all honesty. It's, like I said, first-person shooter, one of the first 3D shooters. I say one of, it was not the first, it was just the first one that did it well, really. Extremely violent, shooting demons from hell and stuff. Yeah, what more could you ask for, really? Game number... Far Cry 3. Came out recently. You're a generic white douchebag who gets stuck on an island with a bunch of pirates, and you have to shoot some dudes and stab yourself with inane amounts of drugs. I mean, if you don't want to play that, then what the hell's wrong with you? A very good game, actually. Got a lot of awards. I haven't finished it yet, so there would be a point where I'd be like, okay, I don't know what's happening now, so into the wilderness, flamethrowers and all. Yes, it has flamethrowers as well. And bears. You can fight bears in this game. I don't know many games you can fight bears in. Next game. Half-Life 2. Again, another one of those games where if you don't know what it is, the rock you've been living under is country-sized. Science fiction. A lot of these games are sci-fi. I like sci-fi. Deal with it. Science fiction shooter set in the... I think it's the future, I guess. I think. And aliens have taken over the world, and humanity is like docile slavery nonsense, and there is a scary man with a briefcase. And there are zombies in it. And crabs that hug your head. Again, you should know what that is. Google is there if you don't. Just go to Google or YouTube. Either one. They're both owned by Google. One of them is Google. Next game is Spec Ops: The Line, which is a third-person shooter that makes you question why you exist. In the sense of, after finishing it, you are so miserable you want to go and put a gun in your face. It's really unfortunate, actually, because I would have rather have done a blind playthrough of this and not finished it previously, because I think the effect of the game would have been a lot better, but for someone else to be watching me play through it, they would get a very similar effect. So that's on the table. I'll be honest, it's a very mediocre shooter. It has a phenomenal story, as in one of the best stories I've played in a game in a long time, and it totally makes up for the fact it's a moderately naff shooter. Next game is Stalker Call of Pripyat, which is another game I can at least finish, even if it would take a damn long time. I've only finished it once, and a lot of it I don't remember, so it would be pretty decent to play through. I would be playing on the Misery mod. I need to check if the new version of that's come out. I wanted to cover it for Mod of Interesting, but I had trouble getting it to record. Oh, I had trouble getting it to record. That might be an option. That might not be an option, I mean. So I'm really sorry if you guys vote for that, because I might not be able to do it, and you'd need a backup vote. So be aware if you're voting for Call of Pripyat. And finally, Red Faction, the original one, because I haven't played that in years, since I had it on the PS2. So yeah, we're talking a long time. Like, probably 7+ years at least since I played that game, and it was really damn fun. Multiplayer was a blast, literally. Just blowing holes in stuff was amazeballs. It's a sci-fi. I didn't describe Stalker, did I? You're in Ukraine, and there's mutants, and Red Faction is on Mars, and I think there's also mutants at one point. Yeah. Okay. Those are the games. I will put a list of them in the description, and I may very well put a link to their Wikipedia articles next to them, so all you lazy buggers that can't be asked to go look for things, it'll be there for you. Just for you. Aren't I kind? What was my other thing I was going to talk about? Yes, the special. One of you in particular said that you weren't interested in a Q&A, and that gives me the impression that the fact that only one of you were even bothered to say you didn't want it kind of makes me think you guys aren't interested in a special at all. Say if that's not the case. I mean, like I said, I don't have to do a Q&A. You know what? If you really want it, I'll do an hour-long special of Kerbal. I'll have to do it in 480p because, well, I can't upload an hour of 720p. Or I can do 2 half-hour episodes that have been like an hour-long episode split in half at 720. If you're okay with that, and I'll upload one, and then the next upload will be the second part. If you'd prefer that, I don't mind. I really don't mind. Yeah. Aside from that, thank you for continuing to watch and support the channel. You're all amazeballs. And yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed this, and I will see everyone later.